Tonight on Elon Local News.
Comments that caused a stir. What actually happened after T-Pain's homecoming performance.
And I asked God help me so this one person don't have to die from this addiction.
Part 2 of our series on opioids, addiction, and recovery in Alamance County.
And bringing back an old program for a good cause. The group of students ready when you need a lift.
Those stories and more.
Elon Local News starts right now.
Live from the Jane and Brian Williams studio at Elon University School of Communications, you're watching Elon Local News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Brian Ray.
And I'm Maeve Ashbrook. New tonight, another confirmed case of mumps. Vice President of Student Life John Dooley confirmed the 8th case this afternoon in an email to students, faculty, and staff. According to Dooley, the newest case was confirmed out of state while the student was home over fall break. Health Services is still offering the MMR booster vaccine for free on Tuesday mornings and Thursday afternoons, but by appointment only through November 14th.
In 2 live streams from Elon homecoming concert performer T-Pain, the artist claimed fire safety as the reason for not allowing more people into the Shar Center for his performance. Our Grace Morris investigated his claims.
Elon's homecoming performer T-Pain certainly rocked the house over the weekend. Not only with his performance, but with some statements he made on an Instagram live stream after the show.
So the fire marshal was like, okay, you can only fill up. You can only put 600 people on the floor now. If you're going to cut off all the fire alarms, you can only put 600 people on the floor. You can't sell anything past the lower bowl.
T-Pain's manager echoed these sentiments with an official statement as well, saying, quote, T-Pain has nothing against Elon. He had fun, loved the energy and vibe of the show, and he wishes the fire marshal didn't stop letting kids in. But the Elon fire chief Alva Sizemore says this isn't true.
As far as the seats all the way around the gym, they could have filled it up. That was just the people on the floor that it was limited to. Looked like to me, if I had to guess, it was maybe 300, maybe 400 total there. So they didn't even meet the quota of the 600 on the gym floor.
T-Pain also went to McGurk's Pub and Grill after the show. He said in his live stream he didn't shake hands with anyone for fear of getting the mumps. But his server at McGurk's, Jared Goldberg, says it goes deeper than that.
People were taking videos and they were kind of criticizing him, and he really probably would have taken pictures after if people didn't bother him the entire time. So I told him at one point, I said, look, they're trying to make you look bad. Honestly, it's probably because they're intoxicated. Just say you don't want to shake hands because of the mumps. Like, it'll honestly look better for you.
Grace Morris, Elon Local News.
Elon News Network has contacted several members of the Student Union Board, but they have not returned our request for comment. In addition, the Office of Student Life and University Communications have both said they have no comment.
Alamance County District Attorney Sean Boone is scheduled to speak at Elon this week. It's part of the Local Matters Speaker Series on addiction in the Triad. And as part of our series, Pinpointing the Opioid Epidemic, our Liam Collins spoke to Boone to find out what changes are being made in the courtroom.
Illicit drugs plaguing the streets of North Carolina have put Alamance County at the center of the national crisis. Most recent data from the county health department show opioid-related deaths are nearly 3 times the national rate. It's a percentage District Attorney Sean Boone calls simply unacceptable.
Everything we can do to limit the number of people who end up having to come through and spend time in the system and then become a part of the system. We want to stop that.
That system, Boone says, has filed almost 500 drug charges in the last year. Nearly 10% of those were for possession of heroin.
We want to make sure that we emphasize a treatment component, because if we hit it in the front end, maybe we can keep them from reoffending and going back into that cycle of addiction.
A cycle those at Hannah's Haven know all too well.
So many people are dying from it. And I asked God help me so this one person don't have to die from this addiction.
Bonnie Harris is the director and founder of Hannah's Haven, an all-female faith-based rehabilitation center north of Greensboro. The program has been around since 2006 and has helped dozens of women since, including Kaylee Langford.
You're slowly deceived into believing, well, if I go and steal from this person, or if I go and sell myself to this man for $30, like that makes sense.
She started abusing heroin when she met her biological father and needed something to fill a void left behind.
There was a lot of feelings of abandonment and rejection.
But her addiction would soon branch out to any drug she could get her hands on.
We're dragging everybody else with us. The only thing is they're not doing this getting high. So I put them through hell, all because of my own selfish choices.
Admitting weakness can sometimes be the most empowering fix. Liam Collins, Elon Local News.
Langford says she is on track to finish her last phase at Hannah's Haven at the end of July next year. If you want to hear more from District Attorney Sean Boone, he will be in Upstairs Mosley this Wednesday at 4:15 p.m.
It's November, which means flu season is almost upon us. University physician Dr. Jeanette Archinal says there's concern this flu season could be bad based on Australia's bad flu season. According to Archinal, some concerning symptoms of flu include fever above 100.5 degrees, body aches, chills, sweats, and headache. Archinal says the best time to get a flu shot is now.
There we look at that, North Carolina Medical. Any vaccine takes 2 weeks to work. The biggest time of concern is going to be when everybody goes home for Thanksgiving, particularly people going home to the northeast, because flu season tends to start up there and then drift down.
The flu, like mumps and mono, is spread through respiratory droplets, so Archinal recommends not sharing drinks and sneezing and coughing into your elbow, not hands. Heading into flu season, Archinal says it's important to be prepared if the health center doesn't have available appointments.
There are 6,000 students on campus. We cannot see all 6,000 every day. So if there are no appointments available, students need to know where the urgent cares are so that they can be seen off campus if need be.
If you have symptoms consistent with the flu, Archinal says you should get checked out within 48 hours for medicine to be effective. To make an appointment with the health center, you can call or use the online Phoenix Health patient portal. And your next chance to get a flu shot on campus is tomorrow in Mosley 216 from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Today, new parking regulations for students went into effect. According to Vice President of Student Life, John Dooley, students, faculty, and staff who park in the inman admissions lot may receive a ticket or even be towed. All university guests will be given parking passes to use in that lot. We took to the streets to see what Elon students had to say about the new rules.
I kind of always thought I wasn't supposed to park there, honestly.
I feel like the main reason that people park there is to have easy access to the Loy Center, and because there's absolutely no parking in Loy Center.
I would park there on like Sundays because like chapters and stuff was far because I lived in Dan last year.
Yeah.
I mean, they should do something about it because that's where, I mean, those spots are for visitors.
Definitely worried that the places that I have to park on campus are becoming more and more limited.
Those rules are in effect Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m.
The rideshare program that's helping a good cause.
Class registration starts this week. I'll let you know what to expect after the break.
It's that time of year again. Class registration starts this Thursday at 7:30 a.m. and ends next Wednesday. We have Cammie Brady live in studio to give us some tips for navigating registration.
Class registration is approaching quickly. With that in mind, here are some tips and tricks to help you with having an easy, stress-free registration. The very first thing you have to do is meet with your advisor. They will go over your potential schedule with you and tell you what classes you need for your major and to fulfill general requirements. Next, which is probably the most important step, is to find out when you are scheduled to register. After you meet with your advisor, they should approve that you are able to register. Once they do, you can go onto your On Track and click Registration Approval Check, and there should be a green check mark at the time when you can register. Like mine is Monday, November 11th at 11:15 a.m. Registration is based off of how many credits you have. For seniors and juniors, registration starts on Thursday, November 7th at 7:30 a.m. And for sophomores, registration could happen as early as Friday morning and will last till November 13th for everyone. Once you have that all figured out, you need to find your classes. This part could be stressful because some classes may get filled up before your registration even opens. So always have backups. Once you find your classes, you can search them and then add them to your wait list. So go to register, click search and register for classes. Find your classes and then add them to your wait list. When it comes to time to register your classes, they will be waiting and all you have to do is click submit and then you are registered. For the day of registration, remember to be on your computer exactly at the time you're supposed to register and to always have backups. If you use these tips, registration will go smooth and stress-free. Back to you, Brian and Maeve.
Thanks, Cammie. For more information on registration or to check your registration time, head to OnTrack and look under the Registration Approval Check tab.
One of our own Elon Local News alumna, Naima Abdullahi, is recognized as the 2019 Outstanding Young Alumna. The Elon Black Alumni Network, or EBAN, presents this award every year at homecoming, recognizing Black alumni who have distinguished themselves in their profession. Abdullahi says she hopes this award can show current students how much they can achieve.
What EBAN does is it allows you to realize you are not alone. There are other people who've experienced the same experiences you're going through, and there is help and support from your alumni network to help you get through anything you may be going through as a current student.
According to the Elon University Factbook, just under 5% of undergraduate students identify as African American.
Safe rides may have come to an end 2 months ago, but the class of 2022 PERICLEAN scholars are starting their own program that looks a lot like the old one. Our Quinn Corrigan has more.
Class of 2022 PERICLEAN scholars has started a Safe Rides program. The ride will cost $5, a price much cheaper than most ride-sharing apps. Elon sophomore and member of the 2022 cohort, Katarina Allback, thinks that bringing back the Safe Rides program will greatly benefit students.
Since Ubers can be expensive and scary when you're alone, so it's nice to have that as an alternative when you know it's Elon students running it.
The program is structured so that any student who is interested can be involved, but if no one volunteers, those in the cohort will be drivers.
Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and I believe sometimes Saturdays, students can sign up to volunteer to be drivers for the car, and then they volunteer their time from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Besides offering safe transportation across campus, the program also serves as a way to raise money for the cohort's trip to Ghana, which Allback says inspired them to restart the program.
I think our main reason behind it was more as a fundraising attempt, and we realized that because there's no longer a Safe Rides option at Elon, that this is a good way to fill the void while also being able to raise money for our really awesome cohort.
The cohort uses their own cars to drive people around and collects the money as soon as they pick up their passengers by using the PERICLEAN Scholars Venmo account. For now, the group is scheduled to continue the program to the end of the semester, but depending on how successful it ends up being, they may continue it into the spring. Quinn Corrigan, Elon Local News.
To see who you can contact for a ride, check out the PERICLEAN Scholars Class of 2022 Instagram and the class Facebook groups.
Well, we had a chilly start to our day today, and our Lauren Singles is here with the rest of this week's forecast. Lauren, what does it look like?
Thanks, guys. I hope everyone had a great homecoming weekend. Let's take a look at this week's Phoenix 5-day forecast. Coming in on Tuesday, we have a high of 66 and a low of 43, so make sure to bundle up for that soccer game. It'll be partly cloudy as well. Going into Wednesday, beautiful sunny day. We'll have a high of 65, low of 37. Thursday is also partly cloudy with a low of 39, high of 69. Coming into Friday, starting our weekend off, kind of chilly with a high of 50 and a low of 27. And finally on Saturday, we have a high of 51 and a low of 27, so bring those sweatshirts for that football game. That's all for the Phoenix 5-day forecast. Maeve and Brian, back to you.
Thanks, Lauren.
Remember the cross-country team about their historic victory.
Our John Sarver is live in studio to tell us about the cross-country team's historic win. John?
Elon women's cross-country won the Colonial Athletic Association Championship on Saturday. This is the team's first CAA title, and 7 racers finished in the top 25 in the 6K championship. Senior Scholastica Kemi finished first in the race and set a school record with a 20-minute, 23-second finish. With the victory, the team will look forward to the NCAA Southeast Regionals. Women's cross-country coach Kevin Germain talked about what it has been like to coach the team.
Whatever happens at regionals, it'd be a bonus if we can go out there and do more great things for the program and move on an athlete to the national championship. But I want them to sincerely know, and I've already told them that, you know, it's just a joy to go to practice and work with them. There's nothing more than a coach can ask for that.
In the studio, I have two members of the championship team, Scholastica Kemi and Bridget Canali. Thank you for coming on the show. To start, could you just kind of walk me through the championship meet on Saturday, and when did you guys kind of realize that you were likely to win?
Yeah, so it was a really exciting day for us. I think going in, we knew we could do it. We were definitely the heavy favorites going in, but actually pulling off the win was super exciting. A little bit of a relief to finally accomplish it. I think we, again, like I said, I think we knew going in, but we were trying to stay calm, just confident. We were trying to treat it like any other meet. We knew that the conference championships was a super important day, but we were just trying to not let the pressure get to us, just run like we've been running all season and just get it done, work together out there.
And Scholastica, you finished first in the 6K championship race. How did it feel to cross the finish line and set that school record?
It was an amazing experience, especially being the person to lead my team to the victory. It was such an amazing experience, and I'm happy about it.
And this question is kind of for the both of you. You're more experienced. You're both upperclassmen. What does this win mean to you?
It means a lot. I think last year it was a tough loss for us. We only lost by 2 points. So we were really motivated and hungry coming into this year. So I think just doing this gives all of us a lot of confidence moving forward. I think it's just the beginning for us. And I think it just helped us recognize that we're just as good as any other team in the CAA. It's really exciting.
Awesome. Thank you both for coming on the show. And the Phoenix will be back in action on November 15th in the Southeast Regionals. And football also had an exciting weekend. Our Caitlin Rundle is live in the studio with more.
Game between Elon and William and Mary lasted 5 overtimes, the longest in team history. The NCAA introduced new rules for collegiate overtimes this season, leaving many fans confused about how exactly we got to quintuple overtime. So before the first overtime starts, teams do a coin flip to determine opening possession. Each overtime allows for 1 possession per team, and it is retained until a team scores or fails to score or make a first down. So the first and second overtime is pretty simple. Both teams start at that 25-yard line and drive towards the same end zone with no kickoff or punt. During the first and second overtimes, Elon and William and Mary failed to score and forced the game into a third overtime. For that third and fourth overtime, any team that scores a touchdown is forced to attempt a 2-point conversion, which in theory would make it harder for teams to tie. In the third overtime, both teams scored a touchdown, but also failed at that 2-point conversion, forcing the game to a fourth overtime with the score tied at 29. We go to the fifth overtime, and that fifth overtime chucks all of the rules right out the window. Teams start on the 3-yard line and have 1 play to make that 2-point conversion. If it fails, possession changes and overtime continues until one team is not able to convert. The game finally ended when William and Mary converted and stopped the Phoenix on its attempt, ending the game with a score of 31-29. This is only the second NCAA football game to reach that fifth overtime. UNC Tar Heels and Virginia Tech Hokies in Week 8 was the only other game to make it that far, with that game finally ending in 6 overtimes. Back to you guys at the desk.
After the break, a unique way to get rid of your Halloween pumpkins.
And putting on a performance for 5 hours nonstop while on your back is a weekly ritual for one. After the break, we head to the Carolina Renaissance Festival.
You're watching Elon Local News.
It takes a certain type of person with a specific humor to understand our next act. But this improvised interactive entertainment brings people to the fictional town of Fairhaven year after year. Our Jack Norcross introduces us to Bobo.
Into the Carolina Renaissance Festival, past the shops, and deep into the forest, you'll come across a tree.
But this isn't just any tree. It's Bobo's tree. But you won't be finding that on a map.
People come here every year and they find me right here.
underneath Old Reliable here.
Meet Bobo.
I'm half French.
Half French?
I'm half Greek. I'm half Greek.
French and Greek?
Yeah, I'm a freak.
For 25 years, he's been bringing music, jokes.
What do you call a gorilla that can play golf? Harry Potter.
And a personality to Renaissance fairs up and down the East Coast.
We come see you every year. You are fabulous.
He's the town drunk, but you wouldn't know it by the hordes of people who flock to see and sit on him.
Hey, they're not as happy as they look. I get to make fun of them if you have the right audience.
And the right audience is certainly needed for Bobo's type of humor.
Pickles are a woman's best friend, I hear. You look delicious. You have a lovely neck, you do. What does your shirt say? Milano. I thought it said milk.
Bobo is a paid member of the cast, but his income goes further than a weekly paycheck.
It's unbelievable that they tip me to do this. Don't tell the IRS. You can't act this way Monday through Friday, you know. So they pay me to act this way on Saturday and Sundays.
But after 5 hours, the tips and music start to fade.
Do you have any candy for me? A dum-dum? What is he trying to say? This is the hardest part of my day.
Until the next weekend at the Renaissance Festival. Jack Norcross, Elon Local News.
If you want to meet Bobo for yourself, there are still 3 more weekends to see him. The Caroline Renaissance Festival is open Saturdays and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m.
What a hoot Bobo is.
I have to say, that was a very enjoyable story to watch. I will have to get down there.
Yeah,
Where
I'd
is
love
it?
to see him in real life.
All right, and those are your stories tonight for Elon Local News. Thank you so much for joining us.
For these stories and more, visit our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
And be sure to follow us on social media at Elon News Network.
We're on air, online, and in the stands.
Have a good night, Elon.